Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe for more real-life crime stories that will keep you up at night. You won't want to miss what's coming next. The wind was sharp that night in Ridgewood Falls, a quiet neighborhood tucked between the woods and a lonely stretch of highway. At 9:47 p.m., police radios crackled to life as the same call came in from 3 different houses on Willow Creek Lane. "There's someone at my door. They won't speak. They won't leave." Officers responded immediately, expecting a trespasser or a prank. But the moment they arrived, they realized this was no ordinary call. Only one house still had the stranger standing there, the home of 34-year-old school counselor Emily Carter, a well-liked local known for her calm voice and patient smile. Emily wasn't answering her phone. And the figure at her door wasn't speaking, moving, or reacting to the squad car's lights. It was as if they were frozen in place. Officer Daniel Reeves approached first, flashlight steady, hand hovering near his holster, not out of aggression, but caution. He called out, "Sir, step away from the door." No response. Not even a flinch. When Reeves stepped closer, the stranger finally turned their head. It was a slow, deliberate motion, revealing a pale face with no expression, not fear, not anger, just a blank, unsettling calm. Before Reeves could ask anything else, the stranger walked away down the sidewalk, disappearing into the shadows between 2 houses. No running, no panic, just a quiet retreat into the night. Officers entered Emily's home through the unlocked back door. Everything inside was neat, untouched. A half-finished cup of tea remained warm. Her jacket still hung by the door. There were no signs of a struggle, no overturned chairs, no shattered glass. But Emily was nowhere to be found. Detectives were called in within the hour. Neighbors mentioned seeing a white sedan parked nearby earlier in the evening, engine running with its lights off. Someone else reported hearing a car door slam around the same time Emily's porch light flickered, something it had never done before. As investigators combed through the house, they found a single item out of place. On Emily's kitchen counter, sitting beside her mail, was an envelope with no stamp, no return address, and her name written in all capital letters, Emily Carter. The detectives exchanged uneasy glances. This wasn't dropped off by a postal worker. Someone had delivered it personally. Inside the envelope was a single photograph. Not of Emily. Not of her house. It was a picture of a different home, one none of the officers recognized. On the back, in faint pencil, were 4 words. "You took something from me." But the real shock came moments later, when forensics dusted the photo and lifted a clear fingerprint. The print matched someone unexpected, someone who, according to state records, had been declared missing for 6 years. And that's when investigators realized Emily might not be the only person in danger. Detective Sarah Holt stared at the fingerprint report, her jaw tightening. The match belonged to Marcus Hale, a name that once dominated local headlines, not for crime, but for vanishing without a trace. 6 years earlier, Hale was last seen leaving a late-night shift at a roadside diner. His car was found abandoned, engine still warm, door cracked open as if he planned to return. He never did. And now, suddenly, his fingerprint appeared on a photograph connected to another disappearance. The investigation shifted from a missing person case to something far more tangled. Holt and her partner, Detective Ross Kirby, pulled up traffic cam footage from the area around Emily Carter's home. Most cameras showed nothing unusual. But one camera, positioned at the intersection near Willow Creek Lane, captured a short, grainy clip of a white sedan driving past at 9:38 p.m. The driver's face was impossible to see, yet one detail sent a current through the room. The car matched the description given by neighbors. And on the passenger side mirror, just barely visible, was a small rectangular sticker, the old logo of Ridgewood Community Center, where Marcus Hale once volunteered. The detectives didn't believe in coincidences. Not in cases like this. They drove to the address of the house in the photograph. It sat at the end of Briarwood Road, a quiet street surrounded by tall oaks and thick brush. The property belonged to an older couple who moved away years earlier. Now, the home stood vacant, its windows dusty, its mailbox stuffed with flyers and unread notices. But the moment Holt stepped onto the porch, she noticed something: fresh footprints in the thin layer of dirt coating the boards. 2 sets, one heavier, one lighter. One set walked straight to the door. The other circled. Kirby tried the door. Locked. Holt tapped the window with her flashlight. The inside looked untouched, but a faint shape near the hallway floor caught her eye. She knelt, squinting. A phone, a modern smartphone, lay face down just inside, as if dropped mid-step. They requested a warrant and sealed off the property. As they waited, Holt's phone buzzed. It was the forensic analyst. "Detective, you'll want to hear this. The fingerprint on the photo wasn't the only one. They recovered another partial print along the envelope's edge, one that did not belong to Marcus Hale. It belonged to Emily Carter." The room fell silent. Emily had handled the envelope before it was discovered. Which meant one of two things. She received it earlier, and hid it. Or she knew something about Marcus Hale long before the stranger appeared at her door. The warrant came through. When detectives entered the vacant house, they moved slowly, scanning every corner. Dust coated most surfaces except a narrow table near the hallway. A square-shaped section of dust was missing, as if something had been sitting there recently. Something about the size of a small lockbox. But there was no lockbox. No papers. No sign of Emily. What they did find was a folded sheet of paper beneath the stairs. On it were handwritten coordinates. And next to the coordinates, a date. Tomorrow. 6:15 a.m. Holt felt her heartbeat spike. Someone wanted them there. Someone was planning something. As she and Kirby exchanged tense glances, a sharp crack echoed from the back of the house like a footstep on loose wood. They spun toward the sound, weapons drawn, but before they could move, the back door slammed shut. Someone had been inside with them. Someone who didn't want to be found. Detective Holt bolted toward the back door, Kirby close behind. The cold morning air rushed in as she pushed it open, revealing nothing but an empty yard and the tree line beyond. Whoever had been inside the house had slipped away without leaving a single footprint on the damp ground. It was too controlled, too intentional. They didn't waste time. The coordinates marked for 6:15 a.m. pointed to an old service road leading to Ridgewood Quarry, a place long abandoned after flooding made it unstable. By 6:05, multiple units were on site, their headlights cutting through the early haze. The quarry looked like a scar in the earth, wide, deep, and silent. At exactly 6:15, Holt stepped forward, eyes scanning the terrain. The moment the clock struck, her radio crackled. "Detective Holt, we found something." Officers had located fresh tire tracks near the edge of the quarry, the same pattern seen on the white sedan from the traffic footage. Nearby, lying partially buried under broken shale, was a small metal lockbox. The one missing from the vacant house. Holt knelt, brushing dirt away. Inside were documents sealed in clear sleeves, old case files, articles, receipts, maps. At the top was a photograph of Marcus Hale from 6 years ago, followed by another photo, Emily Carter, smiling at a charity event, standing beside Marcus. They had known each other. But the final item stopped Holt cold, a letter, handwritten in tight, careful strokes. "You left me there. You walked away. You knew I was missing and you said nothing. This time, you don't get to disappear." It was signed with 2 initials, MH. Before Holt could process it, Kirby called out from the ridge above. "Sarah, you need to see this." She climbed up to where a group of officers stood peering down into the quarry basin. And there, sitting on a lower ledge, arms wrapped around her knees, was Emily Carter alive, shivering, staring blankly ahead. She wasn't tied. Wasn't restrained. She had gone there on her own. Holt approached slowly. "Emily, you're safe now. Tell us what happened." Emily's voice trembled. "He's not trying to hurt me. He wanted me to understand." "Understand what?" Holt asked. Emily glanced at the officers, then back toward the shadows behind them, as if expecting someone to emerge. 6 years ago. Marcus asked me for a ride after his shift. I said yes. He got a message, asked me to drop him at the community center instead. I thought nothing of it. That was the last time I saw him." She took a shaky breath. "When he disappeared, someone called me. A man. He told me to keep quiet or I'd lose everything. I was scared. I didn't tell anyone. Holt's stomach knotted. Emily hadn't been hiding guilt. She had been hiding fear. "Emily," Holt said gently, "do you know where Marcus is now?" Emily nodded slowly. "He's alive. And he's been watching the case unfold. He said he'd come today." But before Holt could respond, her radio erupted. "Detective Holt, we've got movement. East Ridge, heading into the woods." Officers moved instantly, spreading out, flashlights slicing through the trees. Holt ran toward the ridge, heart pounding. But when she reached the trail, the woods fell silent again. No footsteps. No breaking branches. No silhouette in the distance. Only a message carved into the bark of a tree. "Not yet." Hours later, Emily was safely escorted to a protected location. The lockbox files were seized, the quarry sealed off, and the investigation officially shifted into a multi-state search. Marcus Hale had resurfaced after 6 years, only to vanish again. And Holt knew this wasn't over. Not even close. Before leaving the quarry, she looked once more at the carved message. The wood was fresh, carved minutes before. Someone had stood there watching them. Someone patient. Someone with a plan.